We wanted a way that agents could hone their craft and be a part of a larger community, get the resources they need and information they need to know. We cover relevant topics in the industry that will help you close more sales. We talk to top producers and industry leaders to share knowledge and best practices from around the country. So if you want to make more sales, then listen up because we're dropping gold. Hey guys, it's Eric with Medicare Supplement University. Today I have a really special guest. I'm really excited to have this conversation because I think there's a lot of insurance producers out there that need to hear this message. So we have Mike Gillum of Gillum Financial Group here online with us today to talk about something that's incredibly important, and that's basically putting hustle behind that muscle. So that's a funny catchphrase, but really the intent is, listen, there's a lot of people out there who say, I want to get started in this business. I don't know where to start. What do I do? And I don't really have a lot of money to do it. So how do I get started so that I can start producing results? And so right here, right now, we're going to answer that question once and for all with somebody who is doing the do. Okay, so Mike, welcome to the podcast. How you doing, man?
Excited to be here, man. I want to start off by just telling you or telling everybody that I'm new to Medicare. I've been doing this for about 2 years. And the minute I found Medicare Coach on Facebook and Mr. Eric Fierro here and Mr. Joe Tritolo, is that his name? Joe Tritolo, and Mr. Justin Brock, who I believe owns that site, nothing but support. These guys, if you're going to get into this business, this is the spot to network and get to know people. These are the guys.
Yep, absolutely. This has been, Justin is absolutely one of my best friends, and we haven't really known each other very long. But when we found out who each other were and we introduced ourselves, we just clicked, man. We clicked, and we talked daily since then. Great dude. In fact, I appreciate him and what he does so much, and we collaborate so well together that he actually helps me teach the Facebook lead generation training on the Medicare Supplement University website. So absolutely, yeah, Medicare Coach has been a huge place where people can go and get to know each other and help each other out with any questions pertaining to pretty much any product. Even though it's mainly for Medicare, people drop questions about final expense and several other products in there too, and you'll get answers because most of us aren't going to be just focused in the Medicare arena. We're going to have several products we cross-sell. And so I think that it's, really important that you surround yourself with a community of people who are like-minded, right? Doing the same thing.
100%. Success leaves clues. I mean, if you're like me and you listen to a lot of self-help audio, I don't read books. I always buy the audio, but that is 100% correct. Success leaves clues. And, Tony Robbins, that's what he says, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, man. Find people who are doing it and learn from them. Now, I spent 8 years trying to figure out, the proper mentor. I've had at least 100 mentors in this business. So anyway, success leaves clues.
It absolutely does. And, so one of the cool things that, that Mike is doing, he's a member of the university and he's using tools that you find on the university to get started. And I think that the real main key that he's going to talk about today is he actually made a post yesterday that really spurred me to want to have this conversation. I had people ask me all the time, man, I don't have much money to get started. I really want to just figure out a way that I can get started at a low cost, start writing business, building that block, building the residual, and then be able to invest more. And so I always tell them the cheapest way you can still do it, and also the best way you can control quality, is cold calling. So if you get access to a sales dialer and you start using this predictive dialer to make phone calls and you get your own data, just make the calls. And so yesterday, Mike, tell them the story. Tell them what you did yesterday.
So look, as you get to know me, Eric, I will tell you this. I'm very long-winded, but I'll tell you this. So I did the whole telemarketing thing where I hired 4 people overseas, right? And they were fine, but the leads I was getting were just crap. I mean, they were no good. It turned into me basically cold calling already cold called leads, right? So yeah. Eventually, and I paid a lot of money for this service, and I'm not going to mention any names, okay? But I paid a lot of money for this service, and I was really excited, and it was just another letdown. And finally, I said, why with my telemarketing background, because I have a telemarketing background, I'm 37 now. When I was in my early 20s, I used to telemarket when I was in college. I said, why am I not just doing this myself? Because it's not that hard, it really isn't.
Yeah.
And so finally I said, man, I'm just going to do this on my own. I fired up the dialer, and, I think it was yesterday I made 3 sales. Last week I made 7. Okay. And that was not much work. I'll tell you, it really wasn't. I mean, I probably with all those sales, I probably worked maybe 20 hours total, if even that.
Yeah. Now, that to me it's amazing, because look at what he said he just did. So you can, for the people out there who are numbers people, and you want to break it down. Okay, well, how much time? Mike actually even put it in his post yesterday. How often he's calling, how many phone numbers he dialed to get to those 3 sales, and you just keep multiplying that day after day after day after day, and you start building your block. It's really that simple. And so, when I hear people tell me that it's not working for them, or it's, the numbers aren't good, or the people aren't there, he's getting the data from the same place that I tell people to get data. He's using the same dialer that I tell people to use, and he's producing results at the end of the day.
Well, here's what it is at the end of the day. How much value you bring to the marketplace, really? Because look, these people are getting beaten up, and I'm talking T65 and also, O65. They're getting beaten up. So if you can get on the phone with somebody and immediately within, I don't know, a few seconds, show them that you provide more value than all those other people, they'll listen to you, man. This is not complicated. But what you really need to do is understand and be a master of your craft, because that's what it comes down to. That's really all it is. If you understand it and you're passionate, the passion has to come through your voice, and I'm extremely passionate about this business. My father did it for 40 years. I've been doing it for 8.5 years now. Okay. So if you're not passionate about this business, just leave. I mean, go do something else. And that's all it is.
And the funny thing is, I think there's a lot of people that don't realize how easy it is to become passionate about this. I mean, here's how I look at it. The reason I became incredibly passionate, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I initially got into the business for the money. But then after that, it changed because 2 reasons. One of them is family. I actually got to see what a Medicare Advantage plan looked like whenever a catastrophic event happened to one of my family members, and I saw what a Medicare supplement did. And those 2 things are what ignited my passion to see that, because then I said, man, I got to get out there and I have to talk to as many seniors as possible, and I need to let them know what the best options are and what they should be looking at. And that's what really spurred the whole passion. After that, it just became to me not so much a numbers game for money, but a numbers game for success. Like, how many people can I talk to? How many people can I get put into a Medicare supplement plan so that they can just be well covered and have peace of mind? So then I started chasing success.
That's when it gets really exciting, right? That's when it gets really exciting. For all the agents that are listening to this that are starting out and are wondering whether or not they need to be doing this, just wait. Just wait. And delivering a check to a life insurance beneficiary, I know that sounds morbid. Best feeling I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Because I just saved their family.
That's it.
I sold the one guy on a $100,000 policy or whatever it may be, and now I'm delivering it to his wife and saying, "Here you go." That's a hell of a feeling, man.
You're a hero. You're absolutely a hero in their eyes, because if it wasn't for your knowledge, your persistency to talk to the person, expose where they're financially in trouble, and then basically help them to protect themselves. Like, if it wasn't for what you did, they could have been in a world of hurt. And I think that, again, you really got to, so many people are just like, man, you're in insurance. That's so boring. That's so mundane. Are you crazy? We're freaking heroes out here. Like, we're out there saving.
We are supermen and superwomen all day long.
All day long.
And you better have that attitude going into it too, because we really are. I mean, look, I've done financial planning, and it always comes back to insurance. I mean, I've helped people roll over. I've sold millions of dollars worth of annuities, tens of millions of dollars worth of annuities. I've done all that. At the end of the day, you know what we always end up talking about, especially when you're dealing with people that are 65 and older?
I can guess,
how can I protect my family? How can I make sure that when I'm gone, there is a legacy left. And that's what most people care about. But it's building relationships. It's building relationships. It's talking to people and just being, it's not a sale. We're not selling anything. We're building relationships with people. That's all we're doing. And we happen to be business people that have products that help them. That's all this is.
Yeah. And I tell all my agents this all the time, that there's still salesmanship involved in what we do in terms of how we present, how we talk, how we build relationships. Like, that's all part of your craft, but there's also the part about the knowledge of actually understanding the ins and out of the products you're talking about, Medicare in general, and anything else that you're going to be cross-selling. The university is huge in that. That's why I'm pretty thorough in the university. I design it in a way so that you start at the top, go to the bottom. By the time you're done, you'll have a lot more knowledge than the majority of people out there that are actually pushing Medicare. And that puts you at a great advantage right there. Now, let's talk about something that, again, going back to the idea that you want to get started and you want to do this at a very low cost. Start cold calling yourself, start getting on the phone yourself and talking to people. But the biggest thing holding them back is fear. So, Mike, I want you to tell them what would you suggest? Because I have my own suggestion, but I want to hear what you would suggest for those who are just fearful of making these calls.
Okay, so there's a great acronym, and I actually have it on my office wall. False expectations appearing real. Fear.
I like that.
So we're all scared in life. I don't care who you are. People walk around saying, I'm not scared, whatever. You're scared. We're all scared.
All of us.
We're all freaked out. We don't know what we're doing here. Nobody knows. Okay. But what I would say is just freaking dive in. Just like when your mom or dad threw you in the pool, you didn't know how to swim. Freaking jump. Just jump, bro. Just get in there. You'll figure it out. Because if you want it bad enough, you will figure it out. And Jim Rohn had a great quote about that. That's another one I have over here. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse.
That's beautiful.
So how bad do you want it, man? That's it. This is, if you listen to Grant Cardone, any of these huge people, salespeople, people that have built freaking empires, man, they're all saying the same message. It's the same damn thing. But you got to jump. And that's, Steve Harvey has that whole soliloquy about, you got to jump off the cliff and you're going to get skinned down the way and it's going to hurt and it's going to be painful, but eventually your parachute will open. And I know that to be true because I've done it, man. Yep. It's real. But make sure you're educated, make sure you understand what you're doing. And then, I'd say first, be damn passionate about what you're trying to do, number one. But anyway.
And I think that, again, anybody who hasn't taken the leap, anybody who hasn't actually gone past the fear, basically went head on with fear, crushed past it, anybody who hasn't done that yet, go and do it. And I guarantee you're going to look back at this podcast and you're going to say, damn, they were right. They were absolutely right, because every single one of us who has passed the fear and who has found success, we can all say that we've looked back and said, I remember the day that I decided. I remember.
You know what? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was saying, it's like, it's a weird thing, you have all this fear and all this stuff going on inside your body and nobody sees it, my wife knows all about it. Okay. But you have all this stuff going inside of you. And the thing of it is, if you look at anybody, like I'm talking titans of industries, man, they've all had that feeling. Look, I don't care if you're trying to make $100,000 or 10 million, it doesn't matter. It's the same fear that anybody who's been in business for themselves has. From the damn automotive shop owner to the bar owner to the restaurant owner to the whatever, it's scary. And there's no doubt about that. That's why we have so many W-2 employees out here, nobody wants to take that leap, and it's very difficult to do, and it hurts. I was damn near homeless at one point trying to do this thing. And I've done it a long time. And my father did this for 40 years. And even he couldn't give me advice because it was just a different time for him. Anyway, but my point is, eventually you're just going to have to if you're going to do it, go all in and do not look back. Put your blinders on. I actually have a horse here in my house with blinders on. It's a picture painting.
Yeah.
And it reminds me, the minute I walk out of the bathroom, I see that horse with the blinders on. I mean, that's a level of dedication you got to have, man.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think you had mentioned it before too, and I've said this a million times, that if it was easy, okay, because we're not saying there's a difference. There's a difference between this being simple doesn't mean it's easy, okay? Simple and easy, two different things. This isn't difficult. It is simple, but it's not easy. Because if it was, everybody would do it, and everybody would
yeah, exactly. We wouldn't even have there would be no restaurants. Matter of fact, the entire economy would probably collapse because everybody would just be selling insurance. I don't even know if anybody would be able to buy insurance at that point. Everybody would just be selling insurance. I don't know.
But it's true, so just keep that in mind, that we're not by any means trying to say like, hey, anybody can do this and jump right in. Like, no, it does take a certain type of attitude, a certain mind frame that you have to switch yourself. I do believe that there are many, many people capable of doing this, because it does just take discipline. And he had mentioned that. Mike said discipline is going to be key. So you just got to have that switch in your head that even when things get tough, when you're in the middle of that grind, calling and calling, you've been hung up, hundreds of times, and you're just still going to keep calling, because you know that on the other side of that last hang up is going to be somebody who is excited to talk to you, who you're going to actually be able to help, and who's going to be so thankful because you kept grinding away and getting in touch with them. And that's what Mike's been doing. And that's why you see him writing 3 policies a day doing this, because he is grinding, knowing that there's people on the other side of the one who just hung up looking for his help.
Get through the no's to get to the yeses. Absolutely.
That doesn't change. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't change, And so I think he's just proof of all of that, and that's why I'm so excited to have you on here.
This is business across the board, man. Look, I have a business degree. Okay. Let me tell you this. They didn't teach me this stuff in college. I didn't learn this. I had to learn it on my own.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting a degree or whatever. Go get one if you want to or whatever. But, this is just life experience. I mean, that's why when you see the guy who's driving who cares about material stuff? But I'm just saying, you see the guy who's driving a nice car, has a nice house, all that stuff. You know what he did different than everybody else? He just didn't quit.
He just kept going regardless.
He just kept going regardless. Living in your car, you. Excuse my language.
I can beat it out.
I'm gonna fix it. You just have to keep driving, man. And that's where everybody quits. It's that line of failure. And dude, I've failed a million times in this deal. I've written, like I said, tens of millions of dollars worth of annuities. I wrote a damn $70,000 life insurance premium at the beginning of this year. Okay. Didn't know that was coming. Just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
$70,000 life insurance premium landed in my lap.
But think about that. So you get to a point where, as an independent agent, you have, let's just say you have 500 clients now. Okay. So now you have residual income coming in from 500 clients, but that's also 500 clients that you can go back to and say, Mrs. Jones, I see that you're still pretty exposed here. Let me show you how we can protect you better. And now you're cross-selling other products and you're making more money while helping your clients from the same book of business that you've built already. I mean, it's unbelievable. This is a great, great business.
No, it's wonderful. It's like, I look at it like I have business on the shelf. I've got these shelves, I've got these clients, and I'm going to hit them up every so often and just see how they're doing. That's literally all I just call them. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I hadn't talked to in a while. It's been about 6 months. Just want to let you know, here's what I got going on now. And, some changes have happened and this, that, and the other. And lo and behold, you wouldn't believe what comes out of that by itself. I mean, it's incredible.
There's a lot of business out there. And, here's the cool thing. And I tell people this all the time. There's, a lot of people are scared to talk to each other and share what's working, what's not working, because they fear competition. And I just say that there's so much business out there. We don't need to worry about competition,
Yeah, that's again, I like to use curse words, but that's a broke dick attitude. It really is, because dude, you got to live with a mindset of abundance. Do you realize we live in the richest country in the history of the world? And I'm not Matter of fact, forget the country. We live in the richest time in the history of the world, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much money. Like, money is not a finite thing. It's infinite. It's everywhere. Don't ever have that attitude. That's the worst attitude you can have.
Absolutely. And you know, again, that goes back to mindset, where people could naturally just say, you know, I was that way, where I would fear competition for a while. And then I said, there's so much business out there. I don't have to care about competition. Instead,
7 billion people on the earth, brother.
Yeah. And you know, but you know what helps? So there's two aspects to it. One of them is the abundance mentality, knowing that there's just so much out there that you'll get your piece of the pie and you'll be plenty happy. All right. The other part of it is that it can still creep up. You know, the idea of, oh my God, the competition, this and that. Put on the blinders. Just like you said, put on the blinders, go to work, focus on yourself. Do not pay attention to what your competition is doing. Don't go onto their Facebook page and keep up with what they're doing. Like, who cares?
Who cares?
Do what you're doing, man. You got a job to do. You're trying to build for yourself. Focus on that.
I don't even think about it, brother. I really don't.
And that's
the only time I think about my competition is who's doing better than me and how can I connect with them to learn more and do better for myself. That's the only time I ever think about competition. I don't care.
And that's what these groups are great for, because the ones that are involved in there that are actually sharing with each other, those are the people who have the abundance mentality, who say, you know what, even if I could admit that I'm not doing as good as someone else, I want to connect with them because I want to learn from them. And you have to have that mindset that you're willing to continually learn from other people, man. And so I'll give you my piece of advice, okay? If you want to start cold calling like Mike, and you want to start making some moves like Mike, all right? Because like Mike, if I could be like Mike, stop giving a fuck.
Don't give a shit.
Comes down to.
Man, you know, I've always been a pretty free-spirited guy and very outspoken, and I've never understood, like, look, everybody's insecure. We're all insecure. But I've never understood this stuff about, well, what if this and what if that and da-da-da. Like, dude, shut the fuck up and pick up the phone and start dialing. It's like in Wolf of Wall Street. Remember, that was his favorite. Pick up the phone and start dialing, you know?
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about all this other shit, because it doesn't make a damn difference, dude.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing today? Get after it.
Don't get caught up in the paralysis of analysis. Don't do it. It's important to learn. It's important to learn things, and it's important to become knowledgeable and become an expert in your field, but don't hide behind it. As soon as you have gotten just enough to make yourself dangerous, get to work. Get to work, make those phone calls, have those incredible conversations that you're going to learn from, and man, you're going to just see. It's especially because
that's how you learn. How else do you learn?
Exactly. Then you have questions to come back to the group and say, "Hey, I ran across this," and we're going to.
Weren't you scared? Weren't you scared your first day of kindergarten? I mean, we all were. We all were. I remember my mom dropping me off, and I was freaked out. Like, what's going to happen? I don't. You know, don't do that shit. You're a grown adult. Like, what are you doing? Just jump in, bro. Get after it.
You'll be okay. That's the biggest
thing. You're going to be okay. It's going to work out. Don't overanalyze. Don't look at your freaking bank account if you're broke. I would say that. Go look at your bank account when you start making some money. You know, like, get in there and just do it, dude. It's not that difficult.
So let's wrap up. Let's wrap up the steps here. Step number 1, you have to be passionate about what you're about to step into. Step number 2, just don't give a fuck. You need to just pick up the phone, start dialing, have conversations. Number 3, you'll look back and you'll say, damn, I'm glad that I listened to Mike and Eric, and I'm glad that now I got 6 figures of residual income rolling in because I hustled and I pushed through the fear and I changed my mindset, and now look at me now. Right?
Dude, everybody, that's exactly right. And, you know, I see it all the time. I have plenty of friends that, you know, they're non-entrepreneurs and great people. Everybody is just pinching pennies, trying to figure out how to pay the bills. Even guys, I know engineers that are the same way. I mean, at the end of the day, man, all this comes down to is residual passive income. Okay. And if you haven't read this book, I would encourage all of you to do it. It is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Okay. That was the first book that I read before I was ever even in business for myself. And it wasn't even required reading in college, but I read that book and it changed my mindset. And matter of fact, there's another one called The Cash Flow Quadrant. That's the follow-up book. And they've got this quadrant where you have employee, self-employed, and then there's business owner and investor. So the minute I get to investor, which is the end goal, it's like a game, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get that thing tattooed right here. So I'm not kidding you. I'm that serious about this stuff.
That's awesome.
When I have my money working for me and I don't have to work anymore and I got enough of it and just doing its thing, the old cash flow quadrant's going on my forearm here, and me and my wife are going to go RVing for the rest of our life.
There you go. Great goals. See, and that's also the key. Now that brings up another point though. Okay. So I think that a lot of people, when they want to get started, they throw out some huge goal. Like, I want to have 1,000 clients by next year, bro. That's
one a day.
Yeah. A, it's going to be incredibly difficult, but B, what you should be doing is setting micro goals, saying one a day.
You have to break that down to the simplest. Okay, how many dials do I need to make in order to get one client? One client. That's all I'm after every day. All I'm trying to do is hustle up $500 a day, man.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden, you know what happens? Oh shit, I made 1,000 a day. Oh shit, I made 1,200 a day. Oh shit, damn, my week I just made $5,000. Oh shit, I made $6,500 in one sale.
Yeah.
You know, that happens. But you have to break it way down. I mean, because dude, if you have a pie in the sky, I'm going to get 1,000 clients. That's fine, but break that thing down to a daily task that you have to do. There's a book called The One Thing, and it's by a guy named Gary Keller. That book I would recommend also to everybody, and that's all that it talks about is just breaking it down. He breaks it down in the sense of a farmer. You know, a farmer, the way that they plant their seeds, and, you know, it's just a daily task. They know that the harvest is coming, whether or not they get anything out of it today is a moot point. It's just, I know that if I just do this one thing every single day, it will work out. And I'm here to tell you, it does, but you got to do it every single day.
And that's the thing. There's no magic pill and there's no magic formula, but there is a formula. And the formula is just like what Mike is saying. If you're going to do it the cold call style, make X amount of calls per day, expecting to write X amount of apps per day. And even then, some days you still might have a dry day. Don't let that stop you, because that's just sales, man. So you got to still the next day, even if you had no sales the previous day, the next day you still got to do the exact same thing with positive enthusiasm, right? Because again, you got to remember, people can hear what you sound like. So if you're down in the dumps, if you're not positive, if you sound like just Eeyore, then you're going to have a hell of a time getting anyone to want to listen to you.
It's 100% correct. And there's another great book called How I Raised Myself from Success to Failure. And it's by a guy named Frank Bedger. And he's actually an insurance agent. And I believe he worked for, I think it was Western United or maybe New York Life or one of these companies. But that's all he talks about in that book is he was failing and failing and failing. And what he realized was, man, no wonder nobody wants to buy from me. I'm just a snuffleupagus. I'm just like fucking, like boring and didn't care and didn't believe in the product and didn't really give a shit. It's like, well, dude, if you don't believe in what you're doing, nobody else is going to believe you. It's that simple.
That's right. And so, if you need tips on how to sound more enthusiastic, for the people who are starting in this business, who maybe they're not passionate yet, but they're trying to get there. They're trying to understand the product more and trying to understand it actually in how it works with people using it and how it changes their lives. Okay. So if you're on your road to getting to that and you still need to sound enthusiastic in the meantime, I always tell people, think of something you are passionate about right now. And if you were going to sell me on that, so let's just say like a guy in my office, I said, what are you passionate about? He says, I love guitars. I love playing guitar. I love learning about guitars, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, what's one of your favorite guitars right now? And he told me some weird Takamine name or something like that. And I said, all right, sell me on why I should buy that guitar. And you should have seen the way his face lit up when he was talking to me about that. He was so enthusiastic about it because he believed in that guitar. He believed in that product. So I said, use that same exact, pay attention to how you're talking to me right now. Use that same exact enthusiasm when you're talking about these products to seniors, because they got to understand how important they are.
That's really all it is, man. And look, if you haven't ever experienced a health problem or you've never been on the other side of this, that'll quickly, you'll realize why Medicare is so amazing.
Yeah.
And why they need to buy a supplement and why it's so great, I've seen, just through experience, I've seen a lot of people that, geez, man, I mean, the bills just piled up on them. And they didn't have the right plan, and
Yeah.
I'm able to tell that story. I'm able to say, look, here, let me give you an example,
Yeah.
and that helps every time.
Absolutely. And so, man, what you can do also, it's real simple. Go ask your parents or your grandparents, ask them what they have. Ask them what their experience has been using it. You can learn
Hmm.
so much just from doing that. And that's a close source. They can give you all the, this plan sucks because of this or that, or this plan's been amazing because I've never had to pay a bill in my life. Like, you can get so much just from that and start understanding it better as well. Right. So, man, there's a lot
Absolutely.
of ways. There's a lot of ways. But then the biggest ones are, ground yourself in a good place where you can learn from people who know this stuff inside out. That's why the university exists. It's a place where, again, I made that completely free because I don't want it to be a barrier to entry to anyone. I don't want anyone to complain and say, I can't do it because of this or that. Like, there's no excuses. At this point, you can get in. Everything's in there. The tools you need are going to be in there. And if you want to get started and start making money in this business and start building a blog, it's now at your fingertips, man. It really, really is. I mean, tell them a little bit about your experience just going through the site, because you've seen other sites before. So, I mean, tell them what your experience is.
Yeah. So I was a part of another, and again, I'm not going to name names, but these guys, first off, their site was, I think it was like $40 a month or something, and you had to pay a $99 initiation fee or whatever the hell. And I get in there, and this thing is the worst damn put together website I've ever seen in my life. There was no videos whatsoever that helped anybody. Everything was scattered. These guys even wrangled me into spending $4,000 on telemarketers, which I did. Like I mentioned in the beginning, that was the worst, like easily the worst lead buying experience I've ever had in my life. Eric's site, however, I got in there. It was free. I was going through the content. Now, granted, I know a lot about Medicare already. So, but what I did get out of it that I loved the most was the Facebook marketing piece that Justin has on there. That was great. But if you're a newbie and you don't know what you're doing, that site, man, is 100% where you need to be hanging out at. Learn every damn aspect of Medicare. And then also, like you said, talk to people that are older that are actually on Medicare, and this will happen to you as you make calls, right? Because you're going to start to hear stories. But learn, what you're selling and why it's so great, man. I mean, I don't wish I was 65 or older. I'm happy to be 37 still, but I definitely wish I could get some Medicare insurance, because that shit is bomb. I mean, it is the best insurance program that's ever been created. Anybody who thinks FDR was a crook or whatever, they're wrong. FDR created this. It wasn't FDR. That was Johnson. Best Medicare program, best health insurance program on the planet is Medicare. And if that comes through in your voice when you're speaking to people, man, and you know your stuff, because they're all confused. None of these folks know how this stuff works. They don't get it. You're the expert. And that's the other thing I'd like to say is you need to have an authoritarian, I wouldn't say, just a presence. You are the expert. You know everything there is to know about this. You're enthusiastic as hell. And I'm here to help you. And that's all you need, man. That's it.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. These are all incredibly great tips, man. I really appreciate you being on the podcast today and just laying it out for these guys that, there is no barrier to your success. There is none. You the only one is going to be your own mentality, because again, the training, the tools, the knowledge, everything you need to get started, to get moving, and to actually make sales is available in the university. He is doing it. He is writing business, and he's cold calling. Because for all those people who think, oh, cold calling is dead. That's the thing you hear a lot. Cold calling is dead. Yeah. Mike, is cold calling dead?
No. And here's the thing. I have plenty of money in the bank to not do it that way. Why am I doing it this way?
Because it works.
Because it works. Almost dropped an F-bomb next. Because it works, brother. Because it works. Because everybody I've ever hired to do this, okay, they can't do it as good as I can. Now, I'm not saying don't expand and don't get a team going and all that. I do better when I just get on a phone and start talking to people. And why not? I'm sitting on my couch, man. What else am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm I'm sitting here freaking watching TV, making cold calls, dude. It ain't hard.
But it's discipline. It's still
Discipline.
you still
That's the hard part.
do it. That's what
That is the hard part.
So, man,
Well,
that's been awesome.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Mike. We're going to probably have him on again, man, after, I think it's going to be great to have guys where, we just see them as they're progressing in their journey to come back and give even more gold nuggets that they can drop on you guys and show you how it's being done and being done well. So always stay tuned, guys. More podcasts are coming. Really excited, Mike, that you were on here. Thanks again, man. And we'll see you guys on the next video.
Thank you.